Hi guys, it's Grace with Grace Gets Gastric, and I am here today with part 2 of my Q&A answer videos. Today's video is going over questions related to relationships and the future. All right, this part is on relationships. So, yeah, relationships. That's self-explanatory. Oh. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why I'm filming this when I clearly can't speak today. Anyways, how do I deal with support or non-support of family members and friends? So I would say that I have not had anybody not be supportive. Everyone has been very supportive of me. The person who has struggled the most with this is my sister. I've talked about that before. She's also the only person really in my life who has a weight issue, as I did, and still do. She has not been unsupportive though. She's been very supportive. She wants to be supportive. A lot of it is just like her dealing with her own shit and how that makes her feel, and her acknowledging and knowing that though, like she doesn't want to have those feelings. So, it's hard to say she's really not being supportive because she actually has been incredibly supportive. There just have been moments where maybe some of her insecurities have come out, and I try to be very understanding of that. I know some people take a very hardline approach of like cutting out toxic people, blah, 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 blah. Well, one, she's my sister. Two, she's the most important person in the world to me. So, three, I've been there. I mean, not in that exact scenario, but like I was overweight my entire life, and I know how shitty that feels. And she has had more of a struggle with that mentally than I did. I was pretty content with who I was and my weight, and she has never been. So I just try to be understanding, try to understand that it's not about me. I've been honest with her. I've definitely not been like pretending it's not an issue, like we have frank conversations where I kind of call her out on her shit. But I also try to remember that it's not about me, and that, be as supportive as I can with her. Does my roommate, sister, and family support my decision to have weight loss surgery? And if so, do they watch your YouTube videos? So as I said, everyone in my life has been incredibly supportive. My sister, my roommate, and like 3 of my closest friends are they all follow me on my Instagram, my weight loss Instagram, and they're all like aware of that I make YouTube videos. To my knowledge, none of them watch my videos. One of my friends found me. I told her I made YouTube videos and I wouldn't tell her my name, and so she went and stalked YouTube until she found me, and it wasn't a big deal. If I had really wanted her not to find them, I would have told her. And so I know that she does occasionally watch the videos because she will send me shit, and sometimes she'll comment, but I don't know that she watches them regularly. So, hi if you're watching. How did you tell your family that you were interested in weight loss surgery? So my sister was the first person I told, and she was the only person I told before I'd even gone to, or right after I'd gone to the seminar. She was living in Australia at the time, so I told her over like Messenger. I casually mentioned it to my roommate in a conversation once, and then like we didn't really talk about it much after that until it was like closer. Most everyone I told in like December. I had the surgery in January, and I told them after I had had my final appointment and was basically sent off for approval. And I think partly I didn't want the pressure of them knowing before like I was certain I was going to be able to do it. And so I told my stepmom, I can't even remember, in person, about a month before actually. I think I told her in November because I told my dad like a month later, over Christmas, and she hadn't told him, which I was kind of surprised about. Yeah, and we were in a 2-hour car ride together, just us. So we got to talk about everything. So yeah, I just told him, hey, I'm having surgery. I mean, and that's really what it was. It was like, I'm having surgery in the next month, and there were certain people that I felt deserved to know. Someone once said, Like, is there anyone who should not, like, if you were to die on the operating table, like, who do you want to know that that could be a possibility? And I know that's a really gruesome way of thinking about things, but I thought that that was true. Like, there are certain people that are important enough in my life that I wouldn't want them to be blindsided by the fact that I was even having a major surgery and them to, like, have to grapple with that. So there were, you know, I told probably like 5 of my closest friends, maybe even more than that, maybe like 8 people, and then all of my family, like my immediate family. And almost all of them I told in December, and it was convenient because they were all in here in person. They were all visiting home because a lot of them don't live here. And so when I hung out with them, I just kind of brought it up. I'm nervous people will judge me for having surgery, so I'm not sure I want to tell anyone outside of my immediate family. Did you tell many others? How do you handle weight loss questions from acquaintances? So I have been super open about my surgery. Partially, to an extent, it was a little unrealistic for me not to be. I didn't like start out with the intention of telling everyone at work, but I wasn't lying about it either. And so when I went out on my medical leave, you know, I went out on 3 weeks after my surgery, and I was morbidly obese, and a lot of people just assumed that's what I was doing, which was weird to me, that, you know, and I didn't care. Like, I'm not bothered by it. And like a couple people, like for example, my boss, who I was friends with, and you know, she was like, hey, at the time, a different boss now, but she was like, you know, tell me if this is out of line, but you know, are you getting weight loss surgery? And I was frank with her and I said yes, and she was like, I had the bypass 15 years ago, which is like why she had, you know, thought of that. After my surgery, I was talking to the person who is now my new boss, and she ended up going and getting the surgery. She got the surgery in October. So I lost 120 pounds in a year, you guys. For people who are at lower weights, like if you're like at the 35 BMI, 30, you know, like under 40, you tend to lose the weight a little bit slower, and maybe you only have 100 pounds total to lose. I think you can maybe get away with it a little bit more, like hiding it. There's almost no way I would lose this much weight without a surgery. So, it's obvious, I think. And also, I get why people want to keep it. I get not wanting to be judged. I'm pretty good at not caring what other people think, and frankly, I struggled with my weight forever, and I had never really thought that weight loss surgery was an option for me. It hadn't really crossed my mind until like the time I decided to do it. And I think part of it just wasn't on my radar. And so if someone else can see like that it's an option for them because they know me and they saw me go through it, then that's only a good thing. And I think that, again, no judgment, but personally, I would feel like I was lying by not telling people. And again, I'm not introducing myself, but if someone asked me, it would feel like lying, and it would feel like perpetuating a dangerous stereotype or idea that it is possible for someone to lose 120 pounds in a year and keep it off with diet and exercise alone. And frankly, that is something that I am not comfortable, talking to someone who struggled with their weight. If I'm talking to an overweight person and pretending that I just did this without the massive tool of weight loss surgery, that would feel like a huge disservice to a community I've been a part of for my entire life. So that's not something I would feel comfortable with. There are probably going to be judgmental people. Nobody has ever judged me to my face. Nobody has said anything when I ate 8 sugar cookies in a row, and it wasn't anything like, oh, should you be eating that? And no one's done that to me. So how did you deal with telling or explaining to others your new eating style, or why you weren't eating how you used to, etc.? I've not had to do that. I mean, 1, pretty much everyone knows I had the surgery. 2, I find people don't really care. Like, I went out to lunch with a friend, like an acquaintance, like 4 months after surgery, and I didn't tell her. I would have if she'd asked, but it didn't come up. So there was really no reason for me to tell her, and she's not someone who I see often. So she did notice. She was like, oh wow, you look great. And we went and I got like a single chicken skewer. And she got like only a little bit more than that. And, you know, I find that I was eating so much more. Like, people don't really notice when you're no longer eating for 5 people. Or if they do, they just think like, hey, she's looking great and now she's eating a normal amount, you know? It just never came up, honestly. And the majority of people I was with, maybe it's because they all knew I had the surgery. How do you deal with the opinions and confusion about the surgery? I've been drowned in questions and people's opinions. I didn't get a lot of like confusion about it. I feel like most people I've talked to have been really open-minded and curious for sure. And anyone who's had the surgery knows that like it's kind of your life for the first year and it's all you want to talk about because it's all you're living. So I live for being able to talk about stuff. And most people I know have not seemed judgmental. They have been curious and excited and proud of me. So I've actually really enjoyed talking to people about it, and I have felt very knowledgeable, you know, and I did so much research that I had no problems answering their questions. But I didn't have anybody who, I was worried that my dad and stepmom would be judgmental about it. But I think that, you know, they'd seen me struggle with my weight my entire life, and we're just happy that I was, you know, doing something about it. And I think knowing that I had struggled with my whole life had made them more understanding of the fact that like I really did need an aid. How long did it take for your friends and family to recognize your weight loss progress? I don't really know. A couple of months. Probably a couple of months. Probably like not until like my first 50 pounds. Like my sister noticed it, but she was like taking my progress photos. It's hard, like a lot of my friends, I either see, like a lot of people who I'm close with, I either say almost every day, like my sister and my roommate, or I see like once every couple of months, once every 6 months, once a year. So they noticed when they saw me and they're like, whoa, it's been a year, you look different. The people who I saw every day, I don't know, a couple of months. I honestly haven't gotten a lot of questions or comments about my weight loss. And I think it's just because I happen to know a lot of people who mind their own damn business. You know, I think I live in an area that is pretty conscious of like social appropriateness and maybe just like, yeah, I don't know, it's a fairly liberal area. So I think that people are just aware like, hey, talking about someone's weight is not necessarily super cool. And you also don't know why they're losing weight. You know, they could have cancer. They could be going through a mental breakdown. Like I know someone who, like I watched deteriorate in front of my eyes because it was not a good thing. So I think that, you know, partly the world we're living in and partly the area. I haven't had a lot of comments and I'm not upset about that. I think it's I think it's them being respectful and not putting too much emphasis on weight, you know? I guess that's the next question. Do people comment on your weight loss much? If so or not, how do you feel about it? How do you respond? I definitely do have people say, you know, like, hey, you look great, or you're looking great. I just say thank you. I've never been great at taking compliments, so it's always a little bit awkward. I haven't really gotten any like super uncomfortable ones where like, you must be so happy now, you know, like things like that. All of mine have just been really like, you know, you're looking really good, like I can see all the work you're putting in. And like I said, most people know that I've had the surgery, and so they're proud and excited for me. Do you feel more confident when it comes to dating or speaking to men or women? I don't know. I haven't really dated since surgery or much before for a very long time. I will say that I am feeling more open to the idea of dating than I was before surgery. And I'd been pretty closed off to that possibility, and it just wasn't something that interested me, and it's something that I'm thinking about more often, so I think maybe there's some confidence there. Current relationship status and plans. Single AF is my current relationship status. Perpetually single by choice, honestly. I like my personal space. I like my time. I like my freedom. I have, like I mentioned, I've been more open to the possibility of dating, but it's not a huge priority for me, and not something that I am desperate to do. I've never been someone who, I have never really felt a strong urge to get married. I don't want kids. I'm not really into the whole like heteronormative expectation of life, you know, the stages of life. It's just not my plan. So I'm open to it, but I'm not actively pursuing it at this time. And then I guess that's the next question is, are you planning on dating in the future? Maybe. Probably, possibly. It is something I'm thinking about, but again, it's not like a huge focus of mine at this time. I'm not someone who feels like they need to be in a relationship to be happy and fulfilled. There is nothing wrong with that if you do. But yeah, it's just not like my ultimate goal right now. All right, this is for the future. Ooh. These are ones that I couldn't really quite, they're sort of like with pre-op life, but kind of more future focused. So where would you like to see yourself in 5 years in maintenance? It's kind of a general question. 5 years from now, I'd like to have a kickin' bod. No, I mean, I'd like to have had plastics, for sure, at least on my lower body. But 5 years from now, I'd like to have had all the full body. I think by 5 years from now, I'd like to have had all the plastics I want. I would like to be in a job that I enjoy more. I would like to see myself being able to live and eat in a balanced, healthy way. You know, 80-20. I would like to be the kind of person who makes generally good nutritional choices, who eats mostly whole, good, rich foods, but has a donut on occasion, and that doesn't throw off my diet, and that doesn't throw me into a tailspin. With plastics, what is your first and foremost procedure? So I just actually kind of mentioned that. I'd like a lower body lift. My pannus and my stomach are really bad, honestly. I've always carried kind of a decent amount of weight there. I've got just a lot of loose skin all over my stomach. I've got loose skin on my back as well. My ass is just a droopy mess. But like, I think my stomach, and I think I'll probably need muscle repair as well. I feel like my ab work is just I'm not able to do as much as I'd like. And I don't know if I'm just making this up, but it feels like it's because I have my muscles, because they're separated. And I also think that might be part of contributing to my lower back issues, because I have a not super strong core, and it's hard to have a strong core when your muscles are torn up. Maybe I'm just making that up. Don't listen to me, guys. When you hit your ultimate goal, what gift do you want to give yourself? That is actually going to be a trip to Peru, to Machu Picchu, which I'm actually going on this year, regardless of whether or not I hit my goal weight. So I have to hit my goal weight this year so that I can go on this trip and not feel like I'm pre-rewarding myself. But yeah, that's my goal reward. Are you still losing, or are you at goal? I mean, if I'm still losing or not is, who knows? I am not at goal though. I think that I would like to lose about 20-25 more pounds. So whether or not my body agrees with me, we'll find out. Can you share your health goals? I think I've kind of talked about that in my 2019 goals, which I'll link above. I've got a lot of them, so. Do you worry about regain? I don't. If anyone who says they're not worried about regain is lying. Everyone worries about regain. Right now my worry about regain is sort of nebulous, or it's more like I'm aware that it is a possibility. I am not worried about it happening right now. I don't think I'm at a point yet where regain will start to creep in for me personally, but it is something that I am worried about a year from now, 2 years from now. And as Mad Eye Moody would say, constant vigilance is the key. What physical activity would you like to conquer in 2019? I would like to go do another 5K. I'd like to do a 10K, and I'm doing Machu Picchu, so doing Machu Picchu and not dying or falling off the mountain would be my ideal scenario. How many calories a day do you plan on consuming once you hit maintenance? Do you plan on calorie counting even once you start to maintain? I think there's no way for me to say that because I don't know how much my maintenance range will be when I hit my goal weight. I mean, I'd like to say 3,000 calories, but like that's not realistic. So I don't know yet. I would love to be able to eat like 15 to 1,800 calories in a day for like the rest of my life. Is that going to be possible? I don't know. So I don't know yet. I do plan on tracking for a while once I hit maintenance. Ideally, I would prefer not to have to track for the rest of my life, but I don't find tracking that onerous. So if I do have to track for the rest of my life to maintain my weight, then that's a trade-off I'm willing to make. What are your thoughts about transitioning to maintenance? Do you have a plan for when you're at that point? So this is actually one of my big contributions to anxiety is like, I like to plan ahead. I'm a big planner. And as I just mentioned, I don't really know what my macro ratio will be, what my calories will be at maintenance. That's something that I'm gonna have to figure out once I get there. Okay, how many calories am I eating? Am I still losing? My plan is to slowly add calories in until I get to a point where I'm no longer losing. So that's kind of my general plan, but I'm definitely not there yet. And I'm guessing I won't be there for another 6 to 12 months. Hopefully 6. All right, so that's all for this video. I do have a couple more videos coming, so stay tuned for those. Thanks, guys.